Hello.
We are live. Hello. Welcome back to Waffle Hour.
I'm not calling it Waffle Hour.
It's Waffle Hour.
Officially, it's not Waffle Hour.
I know, because it's normally like an hour and a half or whatever, so that's too long. So anyway, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again for me and James talking about RC stuff and drifting stuff for about an hour and a bit in Northampton at Sol RC in England.
We are live. Hello. You'll have to bear with me.
We are playing back to ourselves.
Randomly, that has managed to open itself. There we go. Sorted.
Is that it?
That's it.
That sounded weird. I sounded weirder than I do when I can hear myself.
It's quite weird.
Did that even make any sense?
It's quite weird when you have a random intro like "Hello," like you did.
Coming out of that speaker, I sound like a Smurf.
Yeah.
Hello, nice to meet you.
You kind of do sound like a Smurf sometimes.
Shut up, man. Anyway, what have we got to do? We moved the camera. If anyone's noticed, we're no longer there. We're here because I've got this terrible habit of just staring at this screen that's right here that you can't see. It's literally just there. So yeah, we both sort of end up just going "hoo" or "hoo." Yeah. So now you're there. So
the only problem with that is it makes me look like I'm a ghost.
Yeah,
because I'm now sat underneath the light. But
you look like a ghost. Let's compare. Yeah, that's pretty bad to be
pretty ghosty.
So anyway, you are now all over those vacular chassis that's right behind the camera. So hello, vacular people.
So anyway, let's get on with the actual important stuff rather than the pointless waffle.
Okay.
So what's first? First thing is we've had a load of bodies delivered.
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a note of our first thing. We have had a load of bodies. We've show you.
We've kind of
They're there.
We've kind of sold a bunch as well. To be perfectly honest, I think
there's bodies everywhere at the moment.
We've kind of.
So start from us. I can't.
Read out what we got.
Start from this end. PS13. Which one's that one? The Suinaga one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Suinaga PS13. 460 power S14.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the 460 power or the 460 power? That's the other one. That's the
S14, the 1093.
1093. I could just read the label.
You could.
We've got the Toyo 180SX, which is one of my favourite shells. Super badass.
Not one of my favourite shells.
What, this shell or just in general?
Just the shape of it.
Animal Style. Thanks to Julian Jacobs from Animal Style for sending those decals. And Masashi Urakoi for sending me some MCR factory decals. And Ito for sending me overdose decals. And Sekado for sending me... Yeah, anyway. So we've got one of those. Well, we've got more than one of those. We've got the Saito Daigo JZX, which is what that one is. Yeah, so we've got those in. They're super cool. They're really nice to drive. And we have the 460 power S14A. Yeah. And then we have the Kunis JZX 100, the later spec one, not the early one. FCs. There was a rumor going around about FCs being discontinued.
Well, it was a rumor. We were told they were discontinued.
We were told, yeah.
And then we went to.
And then we went back to Japan, and apparently
no.
It was like
they just ran out of stock for a while.
We never said that, and it's like, oh, okay, you did, but anyway. Yeah. So we've got those. We've got the Hibino Sunrise Mercury A86. What up, Hibino? We've got Kunis Mark X's, which are also super nice to drive. Yep.
And then we have,
which is, well, we can mention with the other part of what we're doing about drift videos and stuff. Actually, is the Mark X is a really balanced body for running together with other people.
And it also can run super low.
It can also run very, very low. We have the MST S15, which is the MST / Kazama S15. They're up in the corner. Which
that's the Gredi FT.
The Gredi. That is also a Suinaga body, is it not?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
FC. FD. Sorry. The Kaguchi Power 180SX and the D-Max Diversion Utsumi 1 beer.
Yes.
And we have got more, but they've already sold. Yes. Sorry about that. So we've got loads of those.
That's how fast the C33 sold. Yeah, a bunch of C33s coming in. They were sold in
Kumakubo's car. We also have all the light buckets for all these bodies. So generally, when we get bodies in, we order the light buckets with them because
Who wants a body without light buckets?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, it's kind of, I think people are at the point now where not having light buckets is not an option.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother buying a body unless it's got, or I'd buy the body, but I wouldn't run it until I have light buckets.
Yeah.
It's just no point.
So,
yeah, we sold a whole bunch of bodies yesterday. More bodies.
including bodies to ourselves. Yeah. So every time we get bodies in, we're like, man, I really want one of those.
I've wanted one of those for a while. I'm going to get it while it's here.
I made an accident. I purchased. What did you buy?
Well, I bought the PS13 so that I can use.
This is on top of all of the crap that turned up last week.
And I have 8 bodies to paint, which is ridiculous.
I think I have probably more than that.
But
so I've got both the Tetsujin.
Oh well, that didn't include them.
We've got those.
Yeah, I've got 10.
We've got top line Celsius.
Yeah.
We've got MSTS 15s.
I included that with mine.
You've got 260Z.
280Z.
280Z.
Yeah. That was a gift from,
incidentally, there's a 260Z for sale on eBay, and it's really nice.
I need to buy one. I was actually thinking about that last
So we got that. I've got a old Cedric body. I'm not even sure who makes them. They're like, when we were in Japan, we got gifts which are these super old kind of discontinued bodies.
Yeah. It's the same one as the AB. It's the ABC one.
ABC, but it's like a super
old one.
Like can't get another one. Which I'm again scared to paint. I'm like, it's besides just not having the time. It's like I'm scared to cock that one up.
I'm never worried about that. It's just
but it is a shell.
How can I make it look good?
Well, the thing is, because it's really old, I can paint it sparkly brown and everything will be okay.
Not that sparkly.
Not that sparkly.
It's got to be kind of like crappy brown. Yeah. Like my mum used to have a Mitsubishi Colton brown. It needs to be that brown.
Like me and the rest of the world have no idea what that color is.
If you just Google brown Mitsubishi Colton, you'll see it's the worst brown that's ever existed.
It's that bad. Can you Google it now?
I'm
not even sure I want to see this. So anyway, the bodies I got to add to my everlasting list of bodies, I got myself the Habino 86. Try to make it so you can actually see the thing. So basically, it's a 11 front end. It's coupe back, which is basically what my actual drift car is, and it's what I'm going to do is try and make this shell to be what I'm going to build my full size Corolla to be. There's no guarantee that it's going to work. Oh geez, that's amazing. That's a Cedric, isn't it? Is this a Colt?
Yeah, that's
oh dear God, that's awful. It's like baby poo.
Exactly.
Baby poo brown.
I wasn't exaggerating.
So anyway, that's what my actual drift car is. But
in terms of shape,
this has I forgot what kit is this? Do you know?
I don't even remember which kit that is. To be perfectly honest, I can't see it properly.
It's probably. I would say it's probably a D-Max. Because it's got the D-Max bonnet, so he's probably backed by D-Max. So I'd say it's probably a D-Max kit of some kind. So anyway, that's not the kit that's on my car. So I've also bought the Hayashi Levin hatchback. So obviously I don't need the hatchback part, and I don't need the front of this. So basically, I'm gonna merge these two. They're gonna join forces somehow. So they end up with a Levin coupe with a good line bumper, a good line bonnet, and good line skirts, and a stock rear bumper, and then whatever other shenanigans I can come up with. And I believe I may cut this out on air in a minute and just kind of show you how badly I can cut a body, I suppose.
Whilst trying to talk and demonstrate. And do everything else.
I didn't realize I've got utensils prepared. We may do this, we may not. I'll see how brave I'm feeling. But yeah, what did you forget I had?
I forgot about the little recess here.
Oh, on the boot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I didn't actually realise how sort of defined that recess was till I got a Corolla, and I was like, wow, actually that's like, it's like half an inch of boom, you know. There's no, well, you might see the little lines on the boot, little recess.
I can't point when I'm trying to do it on a delay camera.
Oh, you can kind of see it there, just. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do for the Euros and try and make my actual own car. And it's I don't make replicas when I build shells. Actually, I remember I was looking at the questions and someone's asking, how do we how do we come up with the ideas for shells?
Oh yeah.
And generally, I just kind of make it up as I go along. However, this is going to be the first one that I'm doing. I try and make shells as I'd want a full-size car. And you set a rule, didn't you? You kind of set a precedent, which was
golden rule for me.
Never do an RC shell that you wouldn't drive in real life. Like if it was a real car, that's the shell you make. So effectively what I'm going to do is, instead of making a replica of a full-size drift car, I'm going to make
the concept for
for my actual drift car. So I'm going to replicate an RC car, a real car with an RC car.
Before it was done.
Before it was done.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone else has done that yet. Certainly not over here.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the vision.
Well, it's going to be Euro's body, so it's going to take some time, take quite a lot of effort, to be perfectly honest. It's not going to be an easy one to do, I don't think.
If it's anything like normal, it'll sit there for like 2 or 3 months, and then about a week before we go, it'll be like, oh God, I've got to make a body.
I've got about one night to do this before we've got to get packed and other stuff sorted.
Yeah. However, by then, my actual car should work.
We'll see.
Don't do that face. Don't do that face.
We'll see.
It will work.
There's a lot of work.
Clarky, if you're watching,
if you're watching, stop watching and get back to work.
Yeah, go back to work. It's going for soda blasting soon, so.
Yeah, that's gonna make your job really quick and easy. It's not going to unveil any problems that need fixing at all.
Yeah,
it's not going to add 3 or 4 weeks to the.
You've got to look after these things.
But thinking it's going to be ready in 5 months when you haven't even blasted it yet.
Oh, anyway. Right, so that's the bodies that have come in. We've got a massive.
Yeah,
it's slightly delayed.
It's very delayed. We have a huge order coming from MST. It was actually due to be with us over a week ago. We had a few delays with it leaving the factory, and then it's left the factory and had some delays with shipping.
This order is colossal, isn't it?
It's a bit jinxed. it's our biggest ever order, I think. From MST.
So it's massive. So we spent loads of money and it's quite scary.
It's quite scary. When I've just tracked it before we came on air, and it's currently in Kazakhstan, which it shouldn't be in Kazakhstan.
It shouldn't be in Kazakhstan.
It's not.
And it shouldn't have been in any of the other places.
It shouldn't have
either.
It shouldn't have also been in the Philippines. It shouldn't have also been in Korea, and it shouldn't have also been in China.
I think
it seems to be normally what happens is you buy something from Asia, and it goes from one country to another country to maybe Germany to the UK, and this one's going this country to this country to this country to this country to it's basically landing in every country that it flies over.
Yeah.
So I think it's still going to be with us Monday supposedly, but it should have been with us today. But I wouldn't be surprised if I track it on Monday and it's still somewhere that it shouldn't be, unfortunately. Or it's
split and it says this part of your order's in Bulgaria and this part of your order's in, I don't know, Uganda or something.
It's not going to be good. I wouldn't be surprised, to be perfectly honest, if it turns around and goes back the other way and the long way around.
Well, actually, no, we don't like this route. We'll just turn around and
go try again. Yeah. Try and take a different route.
So anyway,
so we've got some amazing
what's
stuff.
on that? Because Jay's got a mega list down here.
It's a big old order. So essentially, we're restocking every single item that's out of stock currently, which is quite a lot from MST because obviously we were in Japan and then we've had Christmas and New Year, so it's taken us a while to get our order sorted because we were kind of a bit busy, so we're a little bit behind. But so we've got all the RTRs, we've got all the chassis coming in stock. We do have the rear-wheel drive RMX turning up. We also have the red and silver four-wheel drive RMXs turning up, which is good. Yep. We also have the Triple XDS version coming in, which I need to calculate the price on it, but it's going to be very cheap. It's going to probably be around the same price as an FXX DS, but I need to calculate the price.
I think I'm going to put one of those in my own arsenal. For sure.
I'm tempted. I miss my Triple X, and I'm thinking.
I miss my Triple X.
I'm thinking. I don't know if I can stretch to another VIP, but I could probably have.
What would be quite funny is if we both go. The S is just the best thing ever, and we go to because obviously the Euros is coming up. We go to the Euros and we're like,
sorry, the Worlds.
The Worlds? Oh, is it the Worlds?
The Worlds, because there's guys from America and Australia coming.
Oh, so it's the Euro Worlds.
Euros.
Euros. So anyway, go there. Got like the Duval and RMXs and then it's like, we want to use Triple XS. I want the plastic one.
So what else do we have? We've got essentially. I'm just looking through a massive list, and it's got everything on. I'm looking for all the new stuff, and I think I'm on the boring spares section right now. But yeah, we've got the FXX shaft drive rear conversion coming.
I'm just looking there. We've got all of the CS aluminium pulleys
Yeah,
coming back in.
literally, we've got everything.
People are
coming back in.
chomping at the bit for. So.
We've got,
Which also the pulleys are RMX and
we also have
MS and FS, so they're all on the same
yeah.
pulleys, so they're interchangeable.
We also have the short battery holders coming in red and silver as well to match the new chassis.
Yep.
We've also got some upgrades for the triple XD S version as well coming. So we've got the turnbuckle sets and the ball connector sets and that kind of thing. I've got all of our wheels being restocked as well, which is a billion pages.
Is a lot. There is a small handful of the lunacy that is our wheel stock.
I'm trying to think what else is on there. We've also got the new gyros.
Oh yeah, they come out.
Cool. The LSD 2.0, we've got the S version and the RS. The S version is essentially a replacement for the LSD 01.
Yeah.
So it's a straightforward gyro. It's more reliable and more accurate, is how they've told me.
Yeah.
I believe it's also more compatible with Savox. I think it has lower voltage
we
requirements.
will have to test that.
That's what I've been told, but we haven't tested it ourselves yet because we haven't had them.
And
there's also the RS version, which is remotely adjustable by using your third channel on your receiver, which should be very good. Which is very, very good, to be perfectly honest.
The interesting.
Both of them also come with a really good mount.
I want to see this happening when someone's got dual servo and a remotely adjustable.
We can try it out with the D-Light.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
But yeah, so the mount's really cool on it as well, because previously with gyro mounts and stuff, you normally end up just sticking it on the deck of the chassis, or you maybe have an L bracket like on an FXX or an RMX that clamps in and you stick it on two sides so it's rigid. This one clips in, I believe, into the mount, so it's actually locked in to its own mount, which should make it very sturdy.
Yeah.
We have a whole bunch of the machine spare gears coming back in stock as well, and I've missed a load of stuff because I've skipped 3 pages, but there's kind of too much to look through. We've got loads of spares for the new chassis and things like that as well, turning up as well.
So I'm just looking at this.
We've got the heavy wheel rings coming back in.
Wheel weights. Wheel weight.
This is really weird actually.
Wheel weight rings.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that we rename because the MST name isn't that amazing. It's not very descriptive, and I'm having to translate what I'm seeing here to what we call them.
Like drop screws.
Yeah, drop screws.
That was the first one, wasn't it?
That was the first one.
When we started this.
Literally, when we got our very first order,
screw.
and we got it delivered to Driftworks where we were based at the time, and we started unboxing it on the track at Driftworks because there was no other space, and all the chassis and stuff, they come boxed, and generally you'll have a box that's just full of chassis and whatever. And you get the box of spares, and it's a big old box, and it's just full of tiny packets, and you open a box and it's like, oh, there's 10,000 items in this box. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So all we did was tip it out on the floor and work out what everything was, because some of the names were funny, and we just ended up creasing with laughter when we found the drop screws.
Yeah.
Because
it's not that funny now.
It's not. We were proper excited because we just spent all of our money buying MST stock, and we had all this stuff in front of us, and it was just funny for us. But you had to be there. Unfortunately, nobody else was because it was just me and him.
We got about 3 o'clock in the morning or something.
It was pretty bad. We might. I don't know if they're coming on this order because they don't seem to be listed, but I was told they would be. Have the new GTR wheels coming as well.
Oh, okay.
Which is cool. I don't think they're on this list, so they might not be coming, unfortunately. Got the slide racks back in stock for Triple X. Got all the wide bumpers back in stock. What else have we got? A load of FXX upgrades.
In short, to summarise, because
stock.
probably us talking about a list is quite boring.
Yeah. I'm just looking.
We've got everything. Everything's coming back with new stuff. So
in theory, nothing should be out of stock, assuming everything actually arrives and doesn't get lost in Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
Which is not what we want. We've also got all the MS chassis and Triple X's and FXX's, FXXS versions, got a whole bunch of them coming as well, which is always good. So yeah, that's kind of everything is coming. We were hoping to have it all in here today, and I was hoping to be able to show you the new gyros and show you the shaft drive conversion for the.
But gosh and darn it, it's in Kazakhstan.
It's currently in Kazakhstan, which is not making me very comfortable when it's that much money.
Yeah.
So
I was borderline about to do Borat.
I know. It's too predictable.
You can see it. I know. I couldn't let myself do it.
But yeah. So
what else?
Hopefully we'll have all that stuff for next week, and if not, you're going to see 2 very stressed out people.
This is what else we can do. I can't do it this way because then no one can see it. That is current circuit. I can't even hold it properly. So our kind of next segment, where my face used to be, is basically how the track's going and what's going on with that.
We've run it a bit different this month, haven't we?
We have, and something we've done this month, which we haven't really done before, is we're.
Well, for starters, we did the diagram.
We've done the diagram, which, as you can see, has a bunch of little dots on it. It says circle here, circle here, circle here, and basically this is a guide to exactly where you should be to run a train drift line. I've just realised, is that upside down?
No, it was the
No, it was the right way up. So basically, the dots on this diagram correlate to dots that are over there on the actual circuit. So the idea is, I don't know whether to hold it here or here or
I
what.
think you can probably put it down. That's probably best because it's against your black jumper.
So anyway, yeah, so these dots and lines correlate to what's on the circuit. And what we've done now, which is kind of a first, is you put the dots on. So traditionally we've done clipping boxes and things like that. But now the
marks to say be wider on this corner.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
There's just one or two on the track.
Yeah, exactly. So what we've done now is, obviously our focus now is on the lines and the timing and the accuracy, and basically style. But to have the style, especially when you're running together in a train, you need to have perfect line, perfect timing, and really good accuracy.
Yeah, you need to be able to do the same lap over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. So,
especially,
for example, this dot here, you know, when you're going to change direction, that dot there. So when you're going to change direction, everybody changes direction on that dot, bang, on the dot, literally. So that, you know, one car switches, the next car switches, the next car switches, the next car switches. So it's, you know, it's a continual thing.
It's like a ripple.
Yeah, it's like a ripple. But the track now is, I don't know, you can sort of see from the diagram, the lanes are quite wide for the most part.
Anyone who's driven it knows that it might look a little bit narrow when you walk in, but because of the speed and because of the flow of the circuit, you've got loads of space.
You've got loads
you
of
actually
space,
have the potential to be miles offline.
Yeah, exactly. But the point of that is because there's so much room, actually being on the specific line is quite hard. So, you know, you can kind of get around it really easy. But when we say, no, you have to be on this exact point every lap, that becomes much more difficult. So I think that's something that, you know, for sure at the moment is showing with even our best drivers here. To put the same lap in over and over and over is quite a struggle. And you know, these are really high-end drivers, really experienced guys. But that's why we've done it like that. And
I think a lot of it has to do with focus, doesn't it? It's for the last year, people have been focused on speed, they've been focused on big snaps, that kind of thing, and now actually just shift it a little bit and hit the same line.
And the thing with this circuit is, if everyone just like runs faster and faster and faster, it sucks. It doesn't look that good. You know, it's kind of like everyone's running away from each other, and you know what typically happens is the lead car will be too quick and run away a bit, and then everyone else is chasing like crazy, and
or the lead car gets away, and you end up with a split group of
because it's going like this all the time.
Here and
so you know, definitely now it's you know, it's all about the accuracy.
And one thing that's not cool is when you've got a train and the train is expanding and contracting because people can't match pace.
Okay at points, but in the sense of you door to door,
I mean all
and
around
you drop behind, and then you door to door.
Yeah, I'm
but not like
1 meter, 2
and then
gaps,
running,
and
you know,
catching up because there's a hairpin. It's just not cool.
Or catching up because your line's cut in. So you know that the line that we have is very much. It's not the fastest line, it's not the most aggressive line, but it is the line that basically. Japanese call it the arigato line, which is the thank you line. It's like, here you go. I'm running a line where you can sit on my door and it's super easy and it's going to look cool. Because that's fun.
The cool thing with it is as well, because this track is quite wide and there's room for so many different lines. Essentially, I think this is a track where we've been able to have the biggest trains because there's enough space for more cars to step behind and stagger. And you can run a bit wider.
But again, dependent on the accuracy, you know.
And the guys at the front have to be right.
Yeah.
If you're running at the front and you're making mistakes, you're just messing everyone up behind you.
It's all on the lead car, which is we're playing a game here at the minute where basically we all start in a train, and then if someone makes a mistake, if they bump each other or someone spins out or whatever happens, everybody stops, and whoever made the mistake goes to the front, and they're now responsible for the whole train, you know. And that's when you've got, like, we did it the other day, and we had, I don't know, like 15 cars in a row. And when you're at the front of 15 cars, that's a lot of pressure. It's fun, you know, you're laughing, but you're going, oh crap, like I don't want to mess this up because everybody's going to crash. Yeah,
and you're still at the front.
So yeah, that's, you know, it's a good fun thing to do. And that's when you're all running together like that. I think I mentioned last week, it's called Gakudori, it's school drift. And it is exactly that. You're learning, you're doing it so that you all learn together. So playing a game like that, where if you make the mistake, you know, you go to the front and sort of be responsible for your mistake and accept the pressure. Like then, even when you're in the middle, you've still got that pressure of not wanting to make a mistake because you'll be at the front, and then it'll be even worse, you know.
But everyone's having fun, everyone's learning together. So everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah. Oh, we played it the other day for like an hour, and everybody was exhausted because it was just like, oh god, everyone freaking out, you know. So that was pretty fun. So that's a good game. If you've got circuits out there, you should play that game and literally run together, like just run together for the fun of it. And you know, I don't know, it should have a name, that game.
I don't know, they should probably invent a funny name. Probably not on air because it's just not going to work.
It'd just be a swear word, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it's quite cool though, because speaking of other tracks, we've just seen some videos from McModdel's new track.
McModdel's new track. All right, boys, James and Padge.
And the rest.
And the rest, yes. Frenchie, Connor. I don't really know it. Brian. Yeah.
I've forgotten the chap's name. The guy that came over.
Oh,
Begins with a T.
Ted.
No, it's like Tyson.
I'm terrible at names.
No, I've forgotten.
I only know Frenchie because I've known Frenchie like 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't know Connor because Connor's Frenchie's cousin, I think.
Yeah.
And he was onto me there on Facebook a million times.
Jeez.
So Jesus. So anyway, those boys are super funny.
Yeah, so we saw their track's looking pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're on a concrete track now.
Well, they've slowed right down. They're now on a painted surface.
They're now on good tyres.
Yeah, well, they tested all of the tyres. So literally, those guys bought all of the tyres in the MST range.
Every set.
And tested
it all. And they've worked out. I think they've gone for HP.
HP is it in the end?
If I remember right, it's HP they've gone for, yeah. And they're nice and slow now.
Yeah.
Which is good. Because when they came over to us in October, was it? Was it October?
Something like that, yeah.
Came over to have a drive here and try our track, and they were running 50-50 most of the cars.
Yeah.
And I think they learned quite a lot when they were here, and they saw the difference.
I think it was an eye opener, wasn't it? Like, oh, you can do this. Yeah. Like, didn't know that.
I mean, the guys went back and they bought some triple X's and stuff like that to change from what they were on, and I think they've stepped up a bit since
yeah, big time. Well, the footage coming from there now, you know, you can very much see that if you're using too much throttle, you lose grip.
Yeah,
like you're gone. That's it, and that's, you know, it's the same as here. You use too much throttle, it can go quick to a degree, but
you can't do all the cool
because
stuff.
The carpet's forgiving. Yeah, but it's not cool. You know, you end up flapping your wheels around and everything. The difference is there. You don't end up flipping your wheels around. You just end up you're literally washing off and hitting stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So. Or going nowhere if you just crashed and you try to pull away.
That's super good. I'm really happy that that's changed.
Nice segue. Talking about videos.
We need to visit Ireland.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah, little segue. Isn't that something you get around on?
That is also something you get around on. But
Anyway. Isn't it a mobility scooter for people that can walk?
Yes. It's random bit of trivia. The guy who invented the Segway died by riding his Segway off a cliff. It went out of control and it went off a cliff.
That's so harsh. So his Segway went crazy.
Yeah, he went off a cliff.
That is that's terrible.
Brutal, but you know. Yep.
That is not a good advertising for your own product, is it?
It's really not.
So anyway, the Segway. I digress. We did a video. Well, we didn't do a video.
Well, we've had a video done.
Arc, Mr. Arcology, Andy Arcology. His name's not Arcology. I'm just going with that because he's scared of the internet. All right, Andy. So yeah, he's done some filming for us, and
it came in.
It looks super
Tuesday,
good.
I think. Brought us a video, which was awesome and way longer than I was expecting.
Yeah,
10-minute video.
10 minutes of solid footage.
Yeah, some cool hip hop beats.
The thing I liked about it is a lot of the videos you see on the internet aren't really an accurate representation of the standard of driving.
Yeah,
you get some. It's a bunch of the best clips.
Well, they filmed for a month every time the track's been open, and then the video is a minute and a half, 2 minutes of the very best driving that they saw that month. Which is a cool thing to do because it does show off the top level. But
to be fair, the ones that come out of Japan like that probably is the driving all month. But
some of them definitely isn't, for sure. Some of them is completely faultless. And having now been to Japan, as you may have heard, I've seen that Japanese people also make mistakes, but they're smart enough not to post that on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Because no one wants to see it. It's kind of boring. However, what Ark did was actually just put up a video that basically represents an average day here, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think he filmed it over 2 days when he was here. I think he said he filmed it mostly on the Saturday.
No. It was, as well. I think he filmed it. It was on Saturday, but he came in the morning, did a bit, and I said, "Oh, you should come back later on." Okay. Then he came back later, so it is kind of, the rear-wheel drive guys are generally here in the morning, and the four-wheel drive generally the evening, or CS really.
Yeah.
But
what I like about it is he's done it because he's used to doing skate videos.
He films skate videos. He films hip hop videos.
But what I like,
he's addicted to golden era hip hop.
Which is
literally, he came in here. He was like, "Man, the tunes! Like, how come you got so many good tunes? Like, literally every tune." He was like, "Everyone's a banger." He was amazed.
Well, the key for me was that he's done it like a skate video where everyone's got their own little spot.
Yeah.
So he films like he's edited it, so you get like 30 seconds of one guy, a minute of one guy, and then it moves on to the next guy driving, and then there's a bit of train driving, then it's an individual driving again. It's just cool. It gives you a chance to show off what you can do and stuff.
Yeah.
Which works pretty well.
But it's not just it's not just based on. It's like a representation of being here. Yeah. Like with the drivers that are in here.
Yeah, it's not perfect.
Rather than like, here's the best clips. It's like no. This is like an average Saturday. Like
here's some mistakes, but there's some cool bits as well.
But everyone's got a little bit in there. It's not like, oh, you didn't do a perfect drift. You're not in.
You're not good enough. Yeah.
It's kind of nice for people just to be involved in what soul is and what we're doing.
It's
So anyway, I love the style. His framing's good. Yeah. And I think
he's already got a whole bunch of ideas for what to change the next one he does.
Exactly.
He came in and said, "I've already worked out like."
But you can see like the way the camera's moving and everything. He's definitely come from skateboarding. Yeah. Because skateboarding is hard to film. If people think RC is hard to film, try filming skateboarding. Good luck with that one. Like, man, filming lines is just the worst.
But it's I was pretty pleased with it. It's pretty cool. We're gonna probably do some more.
So we do. I definitely want to do some more, and obviously, we take our inspiration from videos like Wins Narita. Anything from Team Falcons, Wins Narita, is ridiculous. Yeah. Shift circuit. You don't really get many of their videos. No. They used to be awesome. The Sabaya videos of when it was Chance. I loved watching those. The Atsushi videos from Waru. Some of those are pretty funny. But yeah, generally it's it was Luke who did some footage from here as well. Yeah, and that was super nice. So yeah, there's quite a few good videos coming out now. Yeah,
I think it's good to have different styles in the videos as well. As in
the only thing I can't stand with RC videos is the onboard footage.
Yeah, it's useless. I won't watch a video of it's onboard because I don't want to see the camera go and just constantly hearing like spur gears messing with.
To be fair, there are onboard wise. There's a couple I do watch, and it's
not for me.
H2 Riku, because he puts videos up with his suspension and everything.
Yeah. I've watched them always on mute, and I won't watch. Like if he posted a video every week, I'd watch one a year.
Yeah,
it's not enjoyable to watch. Yeah. I want to see what the car for me as a driver. I want to see what the car is doing from where I'd be driving from. Or
it's the same as watching a full size drift video. You want it to look cool. You want to go, man, that drift looked cool.
No, the difference is onboard stuff on a full-size car looks cool because you can look at the driver and go, oh wow, look at his clutch kicks, look at his input, look how calm he is, or look how wound up he is and stuff. Like you can see the driver in an RC car.
I've just had a genius idea. What we need to do is remember the old.
Is this a genius idea that we should keep secret and make millions of pounds from?
No, it's just probably a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Basically, what we should do is those selfie sticks.
Oh, yeah.
So you need a selfie stick with a GoPro that basically films your own hands, so you can see what you're doing with your steering, and then you make it like an old Drift Tengoku video where it's a video of the car, and there's like the little box in the corner. So down here in the corner of our screen, there'll be a little box, so you can see what my hands are doing down here, but over there the car's drifting. So it's like, ooh.
I was very
disappointed. Can you imagine trying to sync those so the timing's right?
I was very disappointed the other day when I bought that camera lens, popped into a well-known electronics shop while I was stood waiting for the guy to go and find the lens from the counter. There's an entire row of selfie sticks for sale.
Well, actually?
Yeah, like literally there was maybe a row of 5 and two high, and then stacked up. They're selling shed loads of them. If ever I see anyone with a selfie stick in public, I'm literally going to take it off them and beat them with it. It's the most horrendous thing anyone can ever do.
Selfie stick would be acceptable if you used it as a stick that basically you could like pan to film RC cars.
It's not a selfie stick then, is it? You're not pointing at yourself?
It's a camera stick, yeah.
It's just...
If you're pointing that at yourself.
Yeah.
But what if you're doing your hair and makeup and you want to see the back of your head?
Use a fucking mirror.
You could have a screen and like a selfie stick and hold it behind you. You could look at your own ass. When's the last time you saw your own butt from like a third person perspective? I've never seen my own butt.
I don't think I ever have. I'm not that sorry that that's the case though, to be honest.
Yeah, but you've got to wonder, haven't you?
Not really. Anyway, digress. So I think is it time to move on to questions? I think it might be.
Probably. I was going to try and cut these bodies, but it seems daunting now. I've said it.
No pressure.
Let's do the questions, and then we can end this video with 20 minutes of me sat on my own with my tongue out going, trying to cut the body.
Yeah, and then you swearing when you slice your thumb or whatever.
Can we put beeps in?
Yeah, we've had a hello from the Devil's Drift crew in Germany. Hello.
What's hello in German? Guten Tag.
It's good morning, I think, isn't it?
Or whatever it is, the morning.
Still morning.
All right, German brethren.
Yeah. So
that's all I got. That's all I got. Oh, thank you to Heiko for the calendar. It's wonderful. So Heiko, if you're watching, you big muscly tub of goo.
I've seen it,
thanks a lot. Yeah, it's one I showed you with like girls.
Yeah.
It's like RC cars, fire, and girls. It's not a bad combo. I'm all right with that.
All right, okay. Next questions. Before I forget, because we forgot a question last week.
Was it Tom Hampton?
Tom Hampton.
Sorry, Tom Hampton.
Sorry, Tom.
We didn't mean to forget you.
It
was his fault.
What you have to realise is when I'm on this thing and I'm looking at comments on Facebook, if there's a lot of comments, Facebook hides a lot of comments, and I have to find them, and then it doesn't show me them in the order they come in. So I have to move up and down to follow a conversation, and I just made a mistake. So anyway, Tom's question was about ball diffs and how do they work and the pros and cons of them. Essentially, a ball diff is it was invented by Schumacher.
It was
by
Cecil Schumacher, who's down the road.
Who's down the road and was my first boss.
Yeah. Was he? Oh yeah, he was.
With my work experience when I was 14, 15, whatever age you do work experience. Very clever man. Designed gearboxes for most of his career before he started doing RC stuff. And
full-size cars. Race car gearboxes.
My understanding is that he actually started Schumacher because of the ball diff. I believe he invented the ball diff for his sons.
Yep.
For their racing to make them faster.
Yep.
He then got lots of people wanting them, so he started making them from his garage. And he had so much demand, he started making more than just ball diffs. So he started Schumacher and started making buggies and stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. Ball diffs are essentially really simple. There's a bunch of balls in them, obviously.
So basically,
a couple of plates, which effectively are clutch plates, and they just allow the rear axle to operate as a diff. The benefits of a ball diff is that you can maximise traction because you can actually set the tension of it. So at what point
effectively it's doing the same thing as a limited slip differential in a real car.
Pretty much, yes. It works slightly different, but it's very similar in the sense of if you've got a spool and both wheels turn at the same speed because it's a spool and there's no differential part to the axle, on a corner, one of your wheels will be spinning faster than the other,
Exactly.
and one of your wheels will be spinning for sure.
So that's got a solid, I think. Yeah, so you're like on a race car. Basically, when you're on lock like this,
yeah,
this and you're going in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
If you're cornering, if you're turning and going around this arc, this wheel is turning in a smaller circle than this wheel. If you're turning left like that, so this wheel has to travel a longer distance than the inside wheel. So basically, when you're on drift, the same thing is happening. Basically, what happens is
the arc is very different, but yeah,
because this wheel has to is traveling a shorter distance, and this wheel is going faster. What they want to do is equalize. So basically, because they're locked, what happens is that from turning in, they will lose traction, slip, and go like this. And then because they're sliding, and they're going to rotate at an even speed freely. So basically, having a locked diff means that you'll get onto lock and slide easier. Where what happens is with a
essentially, yeah. But the thing that you can't miss out with that is on a spool or a lock diff, you're not able to maximize traction ever, because you can only control the axle speed
wheel
rather
speed.
than the wheel speed.
The axle speed, because it is a solid axle.
But with a ball diff, because they can operate at different speeds,
they can slip. If you hold the chassis and like sort of turning in the same direction, they can this wheel can turn independent of this wheel. So it means that can be going at that speed, whereas this one's going at a much.
And it all depends on the amount of traction that the tyres have and things like that. But you can, with a ball diff, in almost every case, you can tighten them literally by tightening the screw that runs through the middle of the ball diff, which clamps everything together tighter. Yeah. Which makes it have less slip effectively. So you can maximise traction, and it's a tunable thing. The screw shouldn't always be super tight. It shouldn't always be super loose. It's a setting you want. You never want to go too loose or too tight, because you'll probably end up killing your diff. Yeah. But you can use it to make sure that on the majority of the course, you're controlling the rear wheel speeds based on traction. Yeah. Because it's not something, you don't have individual control over the wheels manually through your trigger, but you can set it so that for the majority of the course that you're running on, you're getting maximum traction from both wheels by having it at the right tension.
In theory, if you're turning a corner, it doesn't matter what angle you're at, whether you're turning in or whether you're drifting, the wheel speed is constantly equalized. So basically, you've got more control over the wheel speed. Well, it is, because it's not wrong, because
the point is the inside wheel can run slower.
Yeah, but what I mean is, in terms of traction, the wheel speed is equalized, if you see what I mean.
So in terms of traction, it's equalised. In terms of wheel speed, it's not equalised.
In traction, it's equalised all the way through the slip angle or lack of slip angle.
Yeah, but very
whereas when you're turning in, the traction isn't equalised until
I like the way you're changing.
At that point.
I like the way you're changing chassis, just because one's got a ball diff, one's got a thing. The demonstration.
It makes it very clear, because it's red and blue.
But that's the critical thing is the wheel speeds don't equalise on a ball diff. That's the critical part. They operate
traction
equalizes, but wheel speed doesn't. That's how they work.
Sorry, Freudian slip.
So yeah, but essentially that's how it works. There's ball diff is kind of. I was actually talking to somebody about this yesterday. Ball diffs are kind of funny, because when we started doing this, we kind of didn't like them. They were seen as out of date and not needed, but it was because they were being used in a very different way to how they're used now. Yeah. Ball diffs were, when we started doing this, everyone was running 50-50. They were running on T-drift tyres. They were running super fast, no counter steer. Most people weren't using one-ways. And the style of drifting wasn't very cool. But because they were using ball diffs, they were getting more speed. And that's what they were using the ball diffs for. And we've started using ball diffs, both of our four-wheel drive cars, and if I run rear-wheel drive, I'll also run a ball diff.
I'd say it's taken us 2 years to get to the point of actually...
probably longer than 2 years, to be perfectly honest.
But to be at the point where we feel we can benefit from ball diff, because we can set it.
I'm gonna phrase it differently. I've always known the benefit of a ball diff, but I didn't understand how to utilise a ball diff.
That makes sense.
Before, the diff was a as I say, the diff was being used to give you maximum speed, and a ball diff can make you go much faster. That's why a lot of touring car guys have used ball diffs. It's what essentially you can get more traction from a corner, especially in touring cars. You can accelerate out of a corner much faster. But the difference now is, going to Japan, what I saw was people using a ball diff, and the importance of the ball diff wasn't at all for speed, it was for braking.
Yeah, and control.
Because
there's people there running double ball diffs.
Yeah, and that to me is a super advanced thing that nobody who's inexperienced should bother thinking about.
I would say by double ball diff, I mean one in the front and one in the back, not like they're putting double the amount of balls in one diff or something.
The key for me is that you've got to be able to use the diff. And I see a lot of people rear-wheel drive saying ball diffs are useless, just use a spool. To me, they're not using the diff right. If they're not, I can't see a reason with a rear-wheel drive car where you wouldn't want a ball diff.
Well, it varies with surface. I mean,
either way, it's
a ball diff is fast.
In terms of principle, I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there will be situations where there is an exception.
For example, we were
a spool just means you're controlling an axle, whereas a ball diff means you're using control. I'd actually rather use a gear diff than a spool.
Well, for example, at shift, where I thought a ball diff would be faster, it turns out the spool was faster.
See, I disagree with that. I'd say a ball diff would have been faster if you set it up properly for that circuit.
Well, Baba's was the fastest car there, and he was on 2 ball diffs. So
exactly.
Sort of
the thing with the ball, and I think it's the thing that puts.
But that's why it's an expert thing.
Exactly. You know? I think the thing with a ball diff is, if you set it wrong, they're useless.
Yes.
Like, they're completely useless. If you set it too loose, it's not doing anything. You set it too tight, it's essentially a spool anyway.
Yeah.
So you've got to get your setting right. And the best person for that, as we mentioned before, Tunksy's the best guy at setting ball diffs that I've known. Yeah. Apart from Tom Cockrell for buggies, who's top Schumacher driver.
Or Baba, who's professional RC driver.
But I think people are dismissing ball diffs because they didn't get it right when they've tried them. I think people should.
But to be fair to those people, neither did we. Until we had expert help, it was.
I think all I'm trying to say is I think people should persevere with them and maybe try a few more times rather than just dismiss them because it didn't work one lap out. Yeah. Because I've literally seen somebody buy a ball diff from here, do 5 laps. That's shit. I'm not interested. And it's just, to me, it's a case of you need to put it away and come back to it later on. Maybe you're not ready for it. It's not going to necessarily suit everyone, but I don't like seeing on Facebook people saying don't bother with the ball diff. Like I saw a question yesterday. Somebody was asking about what's included in the RMX 2-wheel drive kit, and I just saw somebody say, "Oh, it comes with a ball diff, but don't bother the kit. Buy the bits individually because you don't need the ball diff." And it's like, well,
kind of do.
Leave it up to that person to try it. I mean,
anyway, we've been talking about ball diffs for 10 minutes, so
ball diffs are fun.
Ball diffs are fun. Basically, go and test stuff. Just try it and see what happens.
Okay. Where was that? The question just go on 1 second.
More questions. So anyway, Tom, that's 10 minutes just for you, and I hope you feel happier
probably
inside your heart now. Yeah, you probably think wankers. I'm not watching them again.
Right. Michael Brooks has asked, what's the best RC drift car for the lowest price?
Right, Michael, MST RTR, son. That's where it's at.
Or the MSO and the S if you've already got electrics.
Triple XS.
As of Monday, the Triple XS or the FXXS if you haven't, if you're into rear-wheel drive. It's, to be perfectly honest, there's plenty of ways to get into it as cheap as possible. The RTR, if you haven't got electrics, the RTR is always the cheapest way to get in it because the included electrics are pretty good.
What I will say is there is cheaper stuff out there.
His question was specifically that we sell.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. But there's cheaper stuff out there. It's cheaper reason. But all I'll say, I'm not going to mention any brands or anything like that, but beware of chassis that say drift on the box, but the only thing that's drift about them is some slightly slippier tires.
Or a Vaughan getting junior body. Not mentioning any brands.
Well, not going to knock Vaughan because he's a drifter, and
absolutely.
But
that's not
stuff like that.
Basically, just having a drift body doesn't make it a drift car.
It's in a way it's good because it just makes more people aware of drifting and RC drifting as well. But if you really want to enjoy the hobby, get a proper drift chassis. It doesn't have to be one of ours, but get a proper one.
Get something that's
better if it's one of ours because then we can eat.
It's essentially don't buy a chassis from somebody who doesn't actually do drifting.
Yeah.
Wait until you see, search videos on YouTube and see, have a look at the standard of driving from the people that are using that chassis. If you look at YouTube and the only people you can find that are drifting that chassis are all over the place and bumping off walls and going super fast, they're not doing the same stuff that
We
we're doing.
better stop putting videos up.
Yeah, they're not doing the same stuff that you see from Japan. So that chassis might be capable of that, but if the standard of driver isn't there, it probably isn't.
Yeah.
Because if it's good, people will use it.
Yeah.
Simple as
The
that.
good guys will use
So that's
it.
why there's loads of videos of MST, there's loads of videos of DIBs, there's loads of videos of all the decent chassis. Anyway, next question. Bart asked.
Bart from Norway?
No, Bart Stacks.
Bart Stacks
from Holland.
What you
He said, where do you guys get your inspiration for painting body shells?
We waffled about that earlier.
Kind of, but you kind of skipped over it because we were talking about something else.
Not from replicating full size cars.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what we were talking about before, I've never done a replica, but I am planning on doing one replica, and it's just because to me it's the coolest car that's ever existed in drifting.
And because you kind of got lucky when we were in Hiroshima.
Well, I wanted it for ages.
326 Power is from and Haraguchi is from. So you've literally got the legit Hiroshima, 326 Haraguchi decals. It's not like random. It's
but I've wanted to do one for a long
thing.
time. I've wanted to do one for a long time, but the reason I haven't is because I couldn't get the decals.
Yeah, I'm kicking stuff.
And now I can. So yeah, I'm doing that now.
So anyway,
essentially, my inspiration is I'm into drifting, and I have been for a long time. I've always thought, I wonder, I'd like to do an A86 in this color, and so I've sort of planned that car in my head as to how I want it to be. Yeah. And so I've not had the money to do that, and then 2 weeks later, I want to do an A86 in a different color.
Build the car you dream of at night.
Yeah.
You know, I always car that keeps you awake that you're thinking, I really want one of those. Man, I wish I could drift an FC. I wish I could drift a JZX.
But specifically for me, I've always wanted to do a dark purple FC. I think they're cool as hell.
It is not bad.
It's battered now. I'm shirt against your shirt every week.
Yeah, you can't see that on camera. FC.
But
to be fair, you didn't intend the decals. That was because we went on the tour. And
yeah, I don't do decals normally. The only decals I do are window stickers from people that have given them to me. I will never put stickers on a car.
Our friend Daniel Sumner.
I never put stickers on a car that don't mean something.
Son.
I'm not interested in having Nismo stickers on my car because I've got nothing Nismo on that RC car. It's nothing relevant. The only stickers that go on this are stickers from sponsors, stickers from companies that I support because we're into them, tracks that we've been to,
G-Worker,
like websites, Facebook groups, our friends essentially. But these are stuff.
Where'd you get a WRCC one? I haven't got one.
Yeah, you put it on the body ages ago. I've had that from when we were going there, I think. But essentially, like, there's a Vertex sticker, a T&E sticker. That's because that was given to me by those people. Team Wreck-It Sideways sticker was given to me by those people. Drift Empire was given to me by Rory. Full Lock Drifters, it now just says Lock Drifters because the full got ripped off by somebody. That was given to me by the FLD guys. Literally, to me, the stickers mean something. It's the whole point of stickers. I think we talked about it before. Stickers aren't there to be copied and put on a body. They're there to be shared and mean something. You should be able to look at a guy's drift car in full size or RC and tell who he's driven with, who effectively endorses him and says, dude, you're cool, have a sticker. Yeah, it shouldn't just be, oh yeah, I downloaded the file and I printed off a sticker or I cut out a sticker. What does that mean?
That sucks.
That's just gash. Rant over. Jack Foster's got a question. It's a long one, so give me a second to actually read it to get to the actual question.
Okay.
Okay, it's about the Tau 2. Can you program without the brain unit direct to the ESC? Yes, you can. You can use it just like a normal Tau. You can plug a wire straight from the ESC to the program card. The brain unit is essentially two things. It's a Bluetooth unit and it's an expansion unit. So it lets you program from a distance, so you can just park your car on the track and Bluetooth your settings to it. And it also lets you plug other stuff in, which I was hoping to be able to announce this week, but we haven't had confirmation yet. But hopefully there's a new product.
There is some sick stuff coming.
There's a very cool thing coming from AccuBalance that's going to make people go,
oh really?
So really? As soon as we can announce that, I'll be announcing that. But we had a nice meeting with them in Japan, and it's very cool. Very cool.
Nice office. And incidentally, I looked at an apartment the other day that had the same set of table and chairs that they have.
Yeah.
Which is cool because it was like a square table, but when you push the chairs in, it just became a big square box. It was pretty nice.
The other important thing to know with the brain unit is you don't have to. There's two ways you can plug it in. You can plug it in under the ESC with longer screws that come in, so the ESC essentially doubles in height to reduce the footprint on the deck if you're short of space. Or you can put it anywhere on the chassis and then have the brain unit separate with a plug that runs underneath with a wire.
Yeah.
So there's lots of ways of doing it, but essentially, the brain unit's awesome. You can't buy a Tau 2 without the brain unit.
I haven't plugged in my brain in yet. That's terrible, isn't it?
It's pretty bad. I currently don't have one plugged in because I had to rewire because we wired my chassis without it, so now it needs rewiring.
I have a vision of having basically my controller with my normal controller screen with some sort of bracket, so that I've got it looks like the controls for the Starship Enterprise or something, and then with an iPhone thing next to it. So I've got like a massive screen of crap to play with my RC car with.
Next question. Actually, sorry, there's another part of that question. The firmware and the on the ESC and Tau and Tau 2 can be updated. There is no new firmware available for the Tau, so you can't update the Tau to the Tau 2 firmware. That doesn't work. We had that, but that was a special team thing for testing the settings rather than actually being released because it's a bit buggy and glitchy. It was never designed to be released. But you can update the ESC and you can update the Tau 2. There has actually been a few updates for the Tau 2 already. I think they're on version 1.2 now, if I remember right.
Which technically the version that is for the one that is version 1 of the Tau 2 was version 4. I think it went up to the test version went up to 4.8.
Yeah.
So they really put a lot of time into testing these things. Yeah. I mean, we ended up with like 3 point something, 4 point something.
I mean, even the
it got nuts.
Even the updates aren't always giving you new settings and stuff. I mean, they explained the latest update came out the day before we went to the air offices, so they explained the difference and actually gave the printout with all the differences.
Yeah.
And it was things like the auto shutdown timer had been reduced from 15 minutes to 5 minutes to save your battery life, and there was a new setting introduced. So when you're going, say, your motor RPM setting or something like that, rather than having to tap up 500 RPMs to get from 1,000, well, you've always been able to spin the dial. But instead of having to tap up or spin the dial to go up 500 RPM increments, you can now press right and it goes up 2,000 RPM increments, I think, or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And just small updates like that, they just make it easier to use, and they're constantly doing stuff like that. It's part of the reason why they're a decent company and we like their product.
Well, they don't sit still, they're always advancing it.
They're always making new stuff, which is very cool, and we'll tell you that soon. Akhtar has asked if we thought about doing a trade-in service or maybe PAGs. We've thought about it. It doesn't really work because for us as a business, it takes a lot of our time up, and potentially a customer will be unhappy with something that's nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
It can damage our reputation. If we take a part X on a car and it turns out there's a problem with that car, it's kind of up to us to sort it. And as a business, we have to make sure that we can support what we sell. That's why we don't sell a lot of products that don't have stable supply.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. I mean, we had the tail sliders wheels in just because we happened to go to that track, and
well,
it's fine. But
the thing is,
we're not going to buy a chassis that we can be by 5 bars.
It's not like a lump of billet is going to go wrong, is it? Really?
But there's too many factors that are out of our control. We also don't have time to manage it, to be perfectly honest. As we mentioned before, we're super busy at the minute, short on time. We're going to be. We've thought about loads of stuff out. It just doesn't work for us. A lot of people want it, but all it does is causes more hassle and potentially headaches when we don't have time to spare, and we're not going to make any money from it really anyway. So it doesn't pay for its own time, which is never a good way to do a business. Taj has asked you a question, which is a bit of a long-winded question. He's asked, do you think RC drifting could ever get to the same professional level as touring cars and buggies? If so, how do you see that happening? I think it can, but it's not going to happen while there's lots of people trying to get involved in this industry that are only in it to make a bit of money. People who pop up and want to sell products when
people arguing for no particular reason. The problem is I think nobody's an expert, but everybody wants to be an expert to a degree. So because it's still new, everyone's really passionate about it and really driven, because it's not a huge hobby. Everyone who's doing it now is a real enthusiast. So everyone's very passionate about what they do, and they all have a focus and how they want it to be, and everyone's pushing super hard. And if that conflicts slightly, because you're so passionate about it, like people get into fights over it, and
the thing for me
drama
is,
about it.
I'm a business guy. That's kind of my background, what I do, and you can never get to a truly professional level until there's companies big enough to support it at a professional level.
Yeah.
For example, we want to sponsor people. I'd love to be able to say to somebody, here's a brand new MST chassis, here's a brand new AccuVant setup, here's a brand new RG, here's Samar.
Yeah.
There's everything. You're now good to go. We can't afford to do that. We can barely afford to do it for ourselves because it's a small industry.
Well, we pay for our own stuff.
Well, we do. So. But, you know, we're lucky enough to get some support from AccuVant and things like that. But you can't get to the level of professional. Like, you know, if you look at buggy racing, there's guys that are employed, like Tom Cockrell is one of the top buggy racers in the UK, in Europe, in the world, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% clear, but I know he's very good. He is employed full-time by Schumacher to work on development stuff, to also do promotional videos. He's also, I believe, again, I've never seen his contract, don't know, but I believe he's also paid to go to the local club and make sure that the guys down there are supported. First time we went buggy racing, he was there to help us set up.
He built our diffs for us, yeah.
Yep, showed us how to build our diffs because there was a slight problem in the instruction manual that didn't explain something, so he already knew what the problem was going to be. That has come from Schumacher, who are a huge, well-established company who have made a lot of money over the years.
Who are still offering support at a ground level.
People work for them. So, you know, they're turning over a lot of money. They're big enough to be able to do that. But if, I mean, as happened last week, somebody jumps up and says they can sell products cheaper than anyone else. They can't. You know, we sell products.
Well, not if they actually do it properly and pay, you know, taxes and stuff that businesses have to pay.
Or you go to prison. You know, if you don't pay your VAT, you don't pay all this, you go to prison. It's, you know, it's illegal to do that. So you have to support the industry, and for it to get to a professional level, everyone has to be on the same page. Everyone has to not try and undercut other people, not try and sell the same products as other people, not try and come out cheaper than the other people, because that just destroys the industry. I've seen it before.
Be original and support each other.
I've seen it with alloy wheels. I've seen so many alloy wheel companies vanish because all the cheap Chinese wheels came in. They were just copying the original stuff.
It kills, you know, companies like Image Wheels.
Yeah.
Was it? It wasn't Image, was
yes,
it?
It was Image.
Is it Image got killed off?
There was a bunch of them, and
like, you know, real cool wheel manufacturers.
Who's the wheel manufacturer who made all the rally wheels? I forget the name.
Speedline. Is it Speedline or Compomotive?
Compomotive as well. They're all struggled. They've all gone pretty much, or they're going. And it's because not only did the cheap Chinese wheels come in, but everyone started lowering the prices of the cheap Chinese wheels to make them sell more on that particular day. But the problem
with what happens is
the expected price
the
of
guys who put
down.
The years of effort in, the enthusiasm, the design, the
hard work and
got busted out of the market, and now people complain, oh, I can't get a wheel sponsor.
It's the expectation. Like, you can say it's good that stuff gets cheaper, but the reality is, if something's cheap, it makes it harder for somebody else to produce a product that's equal for the same money. And chances are it's come from a company that hasn't done any R&D. They've ripped somebody off. Nobody does
R&D
another
way to look at it is
the industry doesn't expand.
If people like matey last week, it was like, oh, I can bring MST in cheaper than MST can do it. That's fine. If you want to do that, go ahead and we'll see what happens. But effectively, our prices, we pay all our taxes, we do everything properly, so we can afford, because we're enthusiasts. We do this as well for a long time. We put a lot of time and effort and money into this, so we can run the circuit that's just there. You know, so that everybody around us can come and enjoy our plays. You know, like, it's not because we're an evil corporation trying to suck all the money out of them. Like, we're doing this because we love it. You know, I've done drifting full-size cars for 15 odd years. He's done it for 7 or 8 years. You know, this is something that we love and we're passionate about. But, you know, to make it work, to make it so that everyone can continue to enjoy this and the industry can grow, things have to be done a certain way. And if you want to go sort of doing things a way that's not kind of beneficial for everybody, you're just trying to put a few quid in your own pocket, whatever, man. You know, that's pretty transparent, that's pretty see-through.
But there's so many other factors that come to it, and we're on a bit of a rant now, but essentially, you know, with us, we sell at retail price plus the VAT, and plus import duty if needs be.
Which can be pretty awful.
It can be pretty awful. But we're not expensive. We are the price we have to be by. If the actual money that goes into our bank is the retail price of the product.
Yeah, in fact,
the tax and the VAT doesn't go to us. So what annoys me is people complain about getting stung by customs. That's what you should be paying. That's the price you should be paying. But if you imagine, because we're doing it legit, we're stung every time.
Yeah. Oh no, we paid it every time.
So
yeah,
it's just, I don't know. Anyway, bit of a rant, but
anyway, nice happy note from where we started. Robin from Schumacher was in here the other day
with Matt Owen, who's
with
another
Matt
top,
Owen,
top
who's
driver.
top off-road
He's
buggy
also,
driver.
I don't think he's chairman anymore, but he was chairman of the Silverstone Buggy Club.
Yeah, super nice guy. Those guys are both in here. They had Robin always has a little go when he comes down. Matt had a go, and it's really nice that somebody who owns such a massive, prestigious company still has the time. Granted, we're only 5 minutes away, but he still has the time. We're in the area. Let's pop in and see the Soul guys.
See how they're getting on, and they're both
super
super happy that we're doing this. They support what we're doing.
And that's what the industry should be.
Yeah,
you know, everyone working together. You know, and
at the end of the day,
and trying to move forwards together and promote it together.
It's not a multi-billion-pound industry that can have a bit of competition.
Not yet. No, anyway, next question.
Actaz asked, can you explain baggy suspension?
God,
it's a bit long-winded.
Right, you carry on.
Baggy suspension is it's pretty straightforward, really, as to how it works. When you look at it from a mechanical point of view, essentially all the baggy stuff is it's allowing, well, assuming it's adjustable, it's allowing you to change the lever. It changes the lever effect on a damper. So rather, if your suspension was going to move this amount because of a bump in the track, you can change the pivot points and the leverage so that the damper is compressing more, but with the suspension still traveling the same amount, which means you can use more of the stroke of the damper, obviously, which means you can tune your dampers and make your dampers more important.
It is very clever.
It's very clever. It's very useful on the
road
surface.
Most of the interpretations of baggy suspension I see aren't done correctly. However, it removes the urgency from the chassis. You need to put. Let me finish what I'm saying.
I'll let you finish, and I'll correct.
It's very easy to get traction with a baggy system. That's why it feels good, because it's like, oh wow, I've got traction, I've got grip. It's easy to drive. However, if you're doing Tobashi, which is the forward snapping motion, that is done from the spring itself. So it's spring and damper working together. So you'll go into this spring, use that spring to launch out into the next spring.
A really important part of that is if you use baggy suspension. Well, the reason for that is because with the baggy suspension, you're adding more mass, you're adding more.
Well, the other part of it is
resistance.
designed for your Tabe.
Yeah.
So that Tobashi movement or Tabaru is because your Tabe was massive.
Yeah.
You know, that movement is a lot slower. If it happened very quickly, then you just spin out the whole time. So that movement for your Tabe was made slower, which is why with the baggy suspension, it works very well at somewhere like your Tabe.
The key thing with baggy suspension is you can use it, and there are situations I'd quite happily use baggy suspension. There's not many situations at all. It's a very, very specialist thing that you use on the slippiest of slippy surfaces if you cannot tune your car correctly without it. If you feel like you can't get enough grip at the back, add the baggy suspension. But what I've seen, personally, every single baggy suspension car I've ever seen in the flesh has been used on a surface when they've already got enough grip, and everyone's having to reduce the grip at the back of the car because they've got too much grip, because they're using it inappropriately. So if you take the baggy suspension off and just use your normal dampers, it's going to be fine in 99% of situations, and in fact, more than fine. It'll be better without it. We had one guy who I'm not going to mention his name come down here for one of our competitions, and his car drove awful. And as soon as he took the baggy suspension off, it was so much better.
What I will say is that we watch a lot of the Japanese drift, and we've got a bunch of Pro RC DVDs and all that sort of thing. And we pay attention to what's happening there. And obviously, we're personal friends with some of the Japanese professionals as well. Baggy suspension is not generally used by other professional RC drivers.
I've never seen anybody else using it.
It's kind of a Yatabe baggy thing, which was
the key thing.
It was periodical as well.
Yep.
It came in for a while, and then they moved on to something else. And Yatabe and that whole Yokomo scene works like that. Everything is very fast paced.
It's an innovation. It's cool for 3 months, and then it's
gone, and they're on something else.
I mean, I saw a super cool dip when I was there, which I've got photos of, which I'll be posting soon. That was just ridiculous. Nothing even like baggy on there, but it was completely amazing. The thing to remember as well is Yatabe. The biggest priority of Yatabe is speed.
Yeah, it's very fast.
And so if you need to go fast and you're on a super low grip surface, yeah, look at baggy stuff. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Like it.
That said, because it sounds like we're just knocking on Baggy suspension, Baggy is a super nice dude. He's a very clever man.
Very, very clever and very kind.
And he's very kind, and he's always willing to help. Actually, when you go to Utabe, there's a couple of people that will always come up and try and help you and say hello. One is Kawamoto.
Yeah.
He's always super nice.
He did that today.
All the
when I was there.
Yokomo professional drivers, Gachapin, Takahiro, Hayato, they're all really nice guys, and they'll all come up and say hello to you. And the other one is Baggy.
I have to share a slightly embarrassing moment, which I don't know if you're aware of. When we were at Utabe, Kawamoto came over to me and introduced himself, but he didn't introduce himself with his name. He introduced himself as, "Hey, we're Facebook friends." I've seen his RC cars. I didn't know what he looked like, so I didn't know who he was, and I didn't want to be rude. So I was like,
"Hi, buddy.
Hi, how are you?"
I'm going to tell him. I'm going to embarrass you.
So I was a bit like, it took me about 20 minutes, and then I saw him with the car. And I was like, okay. Yeah, it's that guy. I know him.
But yeah, anyway, so we're not knocking on Baggy himself, because he is honestly, like, Utabe is kind of, when I smoked, Baggy smokes like a chimney. And when I smoked, I was sat in the smoking thing. I was looking at my car kind of thinking, what the hell is wrong with this? And Baggy just goes, can I look?
I thought you were going to say he just went everything.
And he picked it up and he said, okay. So I finished my cigarette and I came out. And about 5 minutes later, he said, he came over back to my bench. He's like, I need to see the body. So he took the body and took the chassis. And he goes, 25 grams. I was like, oh, okay. So I got some weights out and he got the body and he just stuck them in the body, put it on. He goes, now drive. So I went and drove, and it was like twice as good. I was like, how the hell has that just happened? How can you just feel it like a Zen ninja master?
Yeah.
And just go, 25 grams will fix everything in this exact point. And it was just like that. He is absolutely talented for setting RC cars.
Yeah, definitely. Next question. Let's move on.
Yes.
We've had a couple of rants in a row. We need to not rant on this one. Gavin Roberts has said, what are the pros and cons of using trail on the front knuckles for a CS car?
Well,
the first thing I'm going to say is it's a very expert level thing to play with. It's not something that I would play with, and to be perfectly honest, it's not something I have played with a lot.
I've been messing with it on the Develop because I've got the kind of the latest spec knuckles, which have got the adjustable KPI. But if you look, they've also got trail adjustment as well.
I didn't realize they had that.
They do indeed. Now, if you're referring to trailing angle on the knuckle as, it's basically adjustment of the kingpin. So it's a reflection of kingpin angle. So basically, if that is the stock angle,
where's front and back? Is this front and back?
If that's the front and this is the back, and that's the stock angle, if you basically alter the trailing, if this point is fixed and you alter the trailing angle, it works in a very similar way to caster, if you like.
But different on lock.
But different on lock, because obviously as you rotate the hub onto lock, it introduces different elements.
Instead of rotating, it kind of pivots.
Yeah. Well, it still rotates, but on a different axis.
It rocks, right?
So it rolls. So it's almost like dynamic caster on the knuckle.
Yes.
If that makes any sense at all. Now, what I find more beneficial is to keep it fairly neutral. I think if you try anything too extreme, you end up in a place where you're going more and more extreme to do something that is actually very fine. It's a very fine adjustment that you need. So in terms of trailing angle on the knuckle, on the KPI of the knuckle, basically I sort of recommend tuning the KPI transversely. Would that be transversely? I don't know. How did left and right?
If you refer to left and right as KPI and front to back as trail, that's the easiest way to differentiate right now.
So I'd adjust KPI rather than trail. If you're going to adjust the trailing angle,
and again,
make baby steps.
To me, KPI is quite an advanced thing that not many people need to play with.
I've been playing with KPI recently, and setting KPI is very difficult.
Yes.
again, previously, compared to most of the stuff I've done before, everything that I'm doing with this chassis is very subtle. I've not made huge dramatic. I've not like made it 8 feet wide.
Apart from putting a giant weight on the back.
Well, yeah, but that to be fair, I only did that because it's tail slider and it's cool as hell. That block there. But yeah, generally, like everything has become much more subtle.
Yeah.
Whereas a year ago it was like, right, I need like 50 degrees of camber and I need my wheels to go like this.
I'm kind of the same. I'm making much smaller changes much less frequently than I was before. I actually haven't changed a lot since I got back from Japan. I've been trying to understand how the settings I made on super low grip surfaces in Japan apply when you're now on a higher grip surface.
Yeah. What I'll just add before I forget is they're both, KPI and trailer, they're complicated subjects. So explaining it now isn't really that useful. But what I can tell you what they can do. Adding KPI will give you more front end direction response. So if you turn your wheels, the effect of turning your wheels will be bigger. So instead of staying on lock, the front wheels will bite up and send you that direction.
And to a point, and then you'll go past that point and it'll numb it off.
And then you go past that point and numb it off. Same thing happens with trail as well. So the more trail you add, you actually dull out the effect of the kingpin inclination as well. So it's like a balance because you're doing multiple things with knuckles. But basically, go on Google, put in Sol RC forum or Max Speed Technology forum, go on our forum, go in the suspension section, and I've put a massive thread in there with a bunch of videos on that explain all the basics.
Yeah, we found some really good sources
suspension geometry. There's a dude on YouTube, I've forgotten his name, but kudos to him. He's done some really good explanations of suspension, how it works. And if you go onto that guy's channel, he's also got a lot of stuff about diffs and gearboxes and all sorts of interesting stuff. So actually, rather than me explain it, he covers that topic specifically. So go on our forum, find that, and watch those videos, and that will educate you very well.
Again, this sounds really stupid, sounds really obvious, but some people forget. Just look up full-size suspension tuning and geometry. It's the exact same stuff. The only thing is on RC cars, generally, you've got a bigger range that you can use.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a load of competition suspension books.
Actually, going back to the diff as well, that's all explained on there as well.
Kind of, yeah. It's the ball diff is about one of the only things it doesn't directly
between a solid axle and a limited
in terms of how it works.
Yeah.
It's different. Next question, and I think it will probably be one of our last questions. Jamie Fisher, JR.
Fisher, what a blood.
He said, if there's enough interest, would you guys ever consider a Sol RC UK or Europe tour? And because you guys have basically taught us all we know today and seen this progress over the years, what do you think about reviews and goals for drivers? It's quite an in-depth and
Europe tour, been there, done that. Could have come.
I couldn't actually.
I got a T-shirt from the Italian guys because they're super nice. Hi, Italian guys.
It's a little bit of a funny one for us because UK tour, we've thought about doing it. And in all honesty, when we were in Japan, I got back and I was all up for getting a high-ace bus like Mizunaga has, taking people all over the UK. The reality is a time thing, a money thing. It's quite expensive. Plus,
the reality is we can't afford a bus.
We can't afford a bus.
That was the reality.
But it's also down to where do you go? I mean, Europe, there's here, there's Radshape, there's Europe, UK, sorry. There's here, there's Radshape. There's Teesside, there's Wickham.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of small clubs, but we don't really know about a lot of them now. There's a load that pop up and, we find out about them. They've been going for a couple of weeks or a couple of months.
Yeah.
And we're a bit fixed here to, we need people to say to us, hey, we've got this track, why don't you come down? Because we kind of don't want to take people or go somewhere where people don't want to know what we're doing. They don't care. People don't care if we go there, We can only visit a certain number of tracks other than our own in a year because if we're not here, we're closed.
A lot of fun tracks in Europe, but they're so far apart.
Yeah.
Apart from like maybe RC Drift Arena Holland and RC Drift Arena Germany, or Yakiva and RC Drift Arena Germany, they're all so far apart that it's logistically very expensive and
I think,
difficult to do.
I think for me, if I don't know, 4Track said, we'd love you to come to our place, we'll arrange a tour, we'll plan a couple of weeks or a few or a month.
Because already do it now, we can't get a bus.
Well, we can rent a bus, that's fine, or we could just have people drive their own cars there. It's not like we're going to Japan and.
Can we have a yellow bus with the sun on the side of it?
No. But anyway, we can arrange something, but people have to want us to do it, and people have to invite us. You know, we don't want to turn up uninvited to a track and be like, "Hey, we're the guys from SRC," and then go, "So,
dickheads,
why have you come in?
You're not got a waffle here, have you?
Yeah. Oh,
dickheads.
Yeah,
I'm sick of you and that YouTube channel.
We don't do drifting anymore. We only do something else.
Yeah, we do helicopters. Go away.
Yeah. Second part of his question about reviews and goals for drivers.
Yeah.
I didn't realise people wanted it, to be honest.
There's some goals.
I don't like to be.
There's about 8 of them or 9 of them all around the circuit.
Well, being serious, I don't like to be.
Can I make these holes?
No.
So every hole is it?
No. I don't like it to be that we're sort of telling people what they should be doing. You know, we do enough of that with trying to guide people anyway, and there's a fine line between sharing our belief and forcing something on somebody that doesn't want it. If people want a goal, they can say, "Give me something to aim for," and we can have a look at their driving. And you know, there's a lot of people like JR. We've seen him drive for a long time. We've seen him from when he very first started to qualifying second at the Euros and progressing really well. There's a lot more that he can be aiming for, and there's a lot more that he can go for. But he needs to have a conversation with us. That's all we need is people to talk to us about these things. If somebody comes up to me and says, "What do you think I should change about my driving?" I can give them some input, but I'm not going to walk up to somebody and go, "You need to change that about your driving," because that's just rude and nasty.
Your driving sucks.
Yeah, so just if anyone who wants anything, we're always available for
just walk up and ask.
We're going to the Euros/Worlds this year.
The Worlds.
And I'm going to get mixed up, and I'm going
the Euros.
Yeah, the Euros. But we're I'm not expecting to do very well as a driver. I don't practice anymore. I haven't had time. So, but I'm going, and my interest is supporting UK drivers. I want to be able to make sure that the UK as a team does as well as possible. I want to be able to, like last year when I had a problem with my car. I killed a spare gear, had a load of problems, and actually it was some Dutch guys, it was Barton people that helped me out. It wasn't UK guys, and I think we need more of a team spirit that kind
That's exactly what I said to Tanksy. It doesn't need to be like this group. It's UK. Yeah, exactly. And actually you see that from other countries, the German guys, the French team Germany, the French guys, the team France.
Yeah, the Norwegian guys for sure.
There's
the Norwegian guys and then Bart.
But there's a unity amongst the groups, whereas UK's guys, you know, we're all buddies.
Yeah.
But it's like they're the Yokohama guys, they're the MST guys, they're these guys, It's like, dude, we're all from the same place. Like, you know, let's put our together.
To me, I think we need more assistance. So for me this year, I'm going to support people, and
I'm not going to win because I will only cock it up by putting too much pressure on myself, like last year. Yeah.
But for me, I don't think I'll match last year when I haven't really driven much since I got back from Japan. So I'm taking it easy, and I'm just going to be there to offer support to anyone that wants it. And anyone that is going from Team UK to the Worlds this year, tell me if you want help and support or if you want advice, because I'm not just going to throw it at people.
Yes.
People don't like last year, I wouldn't have wanted anyone to get involved until I needed help. But then there was no one around me, so it was whoever was.
I helped you.
You did, but only after a while.
When you asked.
Yeah, exactly.
You only have to ask.
Exactly. My point proven.
If you need something, bloody ask.
Yeah.
Don't hide away. Go. No, I do it. Just ask.
The worst we can say is no. We don't think we should be doing that. But if you need our advice, we'll give you our advice. It's only an opinion. It's only our advice.
Okay. Next question.
Cheers, JR. I think this might be it, but I'll reload everything anyway.
Ryan Royer was that?
That was a comment saying reviews and goals would help me massively as well as lessons mentioned last week. Lessons is a difficult one because we don't know how to do it, so it doesn't.
I can give you lessons. It's £1,000 an hour.
Well, I'm thinking more along the lines of, for example, if we did a Tuesday night or a Thursday night school night, are those people not going to come on a Wednesday night? You know, we need to be busy on.
But basically, if you want help, come and ask. You know, if you want me to drive your car or Jay and help you with settings or help you with the line on the course, you know, we're doing as much stuff as we can, like yonder diagram. To try and make it easier for you to understand you know, the circuit and where you're snapping and blah blah blah, blah, blah and all that stuff. So just ask, simple as. Right, did you call me a dickhead because I said yonder?
Yes.
Yonder is a good word.
Okay.
Don't judge me.
Steve Dolan has asked 2 questions. He's asked, have you guys ever considered presenting on QVC or other well-known shopping channels? No.
Do we get paid? I would definitely do that.
It depends what you're selling. What do you want to sell?
I don't care.
You want to sell like the sharpest knives that can cut metal and
that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
What was that dude's name? Was it the Shazam dude? Vince or something?
Oh, what was that?
Super famous, and it turns out he was like, he ended up going to prison for beating some copper up or something.
What was that?
Anyway,
what was that?
Anyway, he's got another question.
Chop. Chop.
Yeah, that was that
guy who made the song. Well, he didn't. Someone
no,
got him. It was
he's also asked, when are the Euros and can anyone come along? The Euros or / Worlds or Euros are end of May. I can't remember the exact dates, but it's the end of May. You can go to the D110 website and all the information's on there. Anyone can come along. It's at Centre Parks in Holland somewhere. I've forgotten the name of the Centre Parks.
I don't know. It should all be on the book face.
Yeah, all the information is available online. Anyone can come along. I will say, if you're going to come along, just come for the Saturday and Sunday at the very most, because if you're not driving, you're going to be very bored. And if you're not, to drive, you've got to be booked in.
To be fair, we don't really take full advantage of what your Centre Parks has to offer. I was going to say Euro Parks, but it's not Euro Parks, it's Centre Parks.
But yeah,
but there's swimming pools and mini golf, and
if you want to go to Centre Parks, go to Centre Parks.
And it's in Holland, so you can get monged, and that's kind of fine.
But for me, essentially, if you're going to go, watch the competition Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah,
probably even just Sunday.
It's pretty tense, actually. I think it's probably tenser than you'd imagine. When especially when you get to the last, like, kind of the best 16 out of 100 and something dudes. Like,
well, it's 200 this year, I think.
Oh, jeez.
But for me, I personally, if I wasn't involved in RC drifting as somebody, like I say, who wants to offer support and stuff, I wouldn't go if I couldn't drive.
Yeah,
I think I'd be pretty bored after about 3 hours because the problem is you have to remember there's 200 people qualifying and all that. You're going to see some good runs. You're also going to see some bad runs. You're going to see a lot of downtime while the judges have a break because it's freaking intense.
Judging. I judged it. How many? 3-4 years ago?
2012. You judged it, I think.
Yeah, something like that. I judged it, and literally there were 100 and something entries, and everybody did 2 sets of 3 qualifying ones each.
Yeah.
Plus battles that were in multiple groups for every single driver got battles.
Yeah.
And it is the most, I think I judged something like 1,300 runs and battles, and it was like, my eyes were burning.
The very important thing to know is if you don't know how it works, if you're not a registered driver, you cannot drive. There's no like public tracks. I don't think there was a space last year, but nobody was on it because there was no cars to drive. You have to take your own, and it was just a square, But you have to be registered. The UK entry list is full with reserves already on there. You can add yourself to the reserves list, so if anybody drops out, you get contacted. Anyone who is on the list needs to be paying by some date in February. I think it might be the 14th or the 22nd or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But check the details because I'm not 100% sure on that. But if you haven't paid by that date, your space will be offered to people on the reserve list. So pay as early as you can. I paid for us yesterday, just so you know.
Thanks.
So that's all done. But yeah, that's kind of us done, I think, for today.
Just check all the other question sources.
I just have, and there was no more. So.
Literally
no more. So don't worry about it. We're done.
Okay.
We're all finished. And thank you for joining us. Like and share this shit.
Like a favorite this shit. Become a Viking yesterday.
Yes. It's changed it now. It's become an engineer.
Is he doing something else? Yeah. Watch Robaz.
Robaz on YouTube.
We like Robaz. I wonder if Robaz knows who he likes Robaz. Maybe we should tag Robaz.
I'm going to tag Robaz.
And say we became Vikings because we've both got beards. And then we need to show him this section where we're talking about him and our beautiful beards.
Yeah. Anyway, catch you next week. Hopefully we'll have a bunch of new stuff to show you and talk about.
We will if it arrives from Kazakhstan.
Fingers crossed. Everyone cross your fingers. Cross your fingers.
This is our lives right here happening before you. So anyway,
have fun. We'll see you.
Sorry I didn't cut this body out. But I will say I got a Tamiya design knife.
You're such a waffler. We need to finish and crack on.
I'm quite happy here, really, with everyone just watching us.
So anyway, okay, bye guys.
Thanks.
See you later.
I'm a Kavula. See you later.